Hi, my name is Antoine and we are working on the FAC framework. Let's see now how we can do some GUI to our entity employee. The GUI is already done, so I'm gonna just...
We can see your screen, by the way.
You can see my screen yet? Okay, just maybe I
No.
didn't share it. Did I share? Yep, share screen. Okay. So now let me see. I have my entity. And I will create for every entity, I will create XML files to show it in a GUI. Okay, so usually, let's say the standard, the happy scenario, the simple scenario, when you have an entity, you want to see it in a table. When you have a list of this entity, you see it in a table way, like Excel. And once you edit or open this entity, you want to see it in a detailed form. And this is very common to any web application, business application mainly, to be able to see your entity in an XML and in a table and in a form. So this is why I have these two files. And the naming allows to do all the matching. So you don't really need to worry of how you will link this table thing to this employee or this form XML to this employee. You don't need to do this. The name starts here with the name of the entity, employee, and this chapeau thing, and then table. We will see that in this chapeau you can have two other strings or maybe more, but this is for later. We have something called context and view. Okay, we will see it later. When we don't put any context or view, it means I'm using the default context and default view. This is why here I'm using the default ones. I just have the chapeau table and chapeau form. So look at the chapeau table together. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy to understand. It's an XML. XML are easy to understand. I have a vertical layout. I close my vertical layout here. Okay. I have a tag for the validation settings. This is the black bar on the button to save, on the bottom to say save, cancel, delete. Okay. So this says a little bit what kind of attributes I want inside. And then I have a tag for the GUI table itself, because I want to have a GUI table. And the columns. The column names are clearly what? The fields. First name, last name, start shift, end shift. These names are exactly the names of the fields here. So as long as you're respecting your naming, you will be able to, you don't have to do any matching or mapping. Okay? The caption is the caption, you know what it is. It's just the caption that you display on top. I decided to have a link here, link true, so that it will show in blue and I can click it. So the user knows, it's user friendly, that user knows that it's a link. If he clicks on it, he will go to the details. This will have the same effect as the open, if you click on an open button or something. Now, with this elementary XML, what will I see inside? Is my server running? Let me see. No, it's not.
What about the name? The DTP table, name table. Should it match with the employee?
No, we'll talk about it. Yes, the names, and there is a difference between name and data path. You know, here I have data path and I have name. And here I could have had a data path and a name, but I decided to merge them. Or let me say, when you don't have a data path, it is equal to the name. So you can use the name for both, for simplicity. Let me go to the employee tree. This is my table. Okay. If this is my table, first name, last name, etc. I wanted to come here to show these, like look at the plus, minus, open, the right click. This is the form. So let me say again, John Smith here, date of birth some while ago, whatever, and he's really an employee starting 8 to 5, salary 1,000. Okay, so see, this is the effect of my link through. It comes as a link, and if I click on it, it opens. If I do right click, I have open, add, delete. I have export to Excel and CSV. Okay, export to Excel. I have an error if I export to Excel because I don't think I have set my folder for the export, the temp folder or something like that. Whatever. This means that, okay, I have some features here in the table. Okay, I have a quick filter. Didn't show you the quick filter yet. Let me add something. Albert Smith also. And he works 8 to 12. Salary 600. Okay, now, for example, here if I have a big list, obviously, and I want to look for a John, I can type here John. You see, I didn't press enter or anything. It's autocomplete. As I'm typing, I get the filtering and I get the John. If I'm filtering, if I remove the filter, I see them all. If I'm filtering on people who work 12 till 12, I type 12. It's a quick filter here. It's a quick search. Okay, so and this, you can see this in all the tables. Look at the table inside. Here I have a table. I also have the quick search. So this kind of features, once you put them in your common object in your framework, you will gain them everywhere. You have the export to CSV or Excel. All this is available here. Now, let me focus again on my GUI. In my GUI, I have these namings. I have name in every component. Every component has a name inside the application. If you don't type a name here, like here, for example, this vertical layout doesn't have a name, does it? It doesn't. But internally, Fock automatically assigned an aleatory, a random name for it. And since you don't need it as a developer, fine. Don't specify a name. Let Fock, because Fock needs it to put it in a hash map or something, let it put a name for it. But you don't have to put a name. Fine. Now, if in this GUI table I have put a name, it wasn't mandatory, frankly. I could have removed this. But if I'm using this name somewhere in the code, if I want to fetch the table in the code, I can use the code. The name will be handy. Like we will see the back end of the Java class of the forms in a minute. Okay, like for example, let me build one. Let me have an employee table. Look what I did. I did a Java class that has the same name as employee table, the same name but with underscore, not chapeau, and it should extend Fock XML layout. So automatically now the executable will match these two together. Okay, the chapeau table with underscore table, and here I can have some. I have some how to say, some methods that I can override. Okay, like for example the favorite one, after layout construction, the most used one. The init is the one before before the scan of the XML and build of the components. You enter in this one. After the scan of XML and the form is there already built, you will get called on this one after layout construction. Here I can call a get component by name, and the name if I have it here, I can say get component by name, and this will bring me a component. Okay, it would be a Vaadin component, Vaadin UI. And then I can do something with this component. Maybe I can hide it, I can listen to it. You know what? I can even, sometimes I do this. Sometimes you need to do this. Sometimes you say, I have a particular panel here to display, and I'm going to say it's a vertical layout. So I'm going to put a vertical layout here, but I'm going to keep it empty. Let me name it something. My vertical, my specific vertical layout. Okay, I come here in my employee table and I can get this component and work with it. Okay, I can say if the component is not null. Okay, then I know that this is a vertical layout. This is the type of component it is. Okay, I recommend always to get it as a component and then to check if the cast is alright and to cast it, so that you will never get some exceptions. But anyway, once I have this vertical layout, I can say add component, and I can add a label. Let me create here a new FV label. Of course, I could have added this in the XML. I can create a label in the XML. I know how to do that. But we are attempting to do this programmatically to see how this works when you add it programmatically. I'm right. This comp.add component, it's a Vaadin code. Okay. The FV label is simply an extension to the Vaadin label code, class. Okay, FV for fuck Vaadin. Okay, so, well, fine. So now that I have this example, let me run it. Let me run it and see. I should have underneath my table, hello, this is a nice label. This wasn't added in the XML. It was added programmatically. Okay, I can obviously add a button, check the listener for this button, etc., etc. Sometimes you need to manipulate things programmatically because you have a complex form, and the form involves some manipulation, some specific cases, and you feel more comfortable doing things in the Java. Otherwise, I could have done it here. Of course, I could have done here. I have a tag called label. And I can type value for label. I type value. Okay, this is my XML based label. Okay, now what will happen if let me see, sometimes you can simply get out and get back in and it gets refreshed, and sometimes it doesn't accept these changes. It doesn't accept it. Okay, let me kill the server, run it again. I don't know in what configuration of Tomcat you end up being able to change the XML on the fly while you are developing without stopping the server. See, this is my XML based label, and hello, this is my nice label. Okay, fine. So now I have them both. This was added by XML and this one was added programmatically. Okay, now that we know that we can write a Java class that will be coupled with the XML class, and it will be called automatically. It's good to know. I know also that the matching happens on the name. You know, just to let you know, just to make sure I said that, sometimes you can see this data path. Data path is the one that says what's the field mapping to be done. So I can say here data path equals first name. Okay, and maybe I can drop the name thing, but whenever, and I can have two different. I can have name, the name is like this, and data path is first name. I can have the first name two times. I'm gonna show you this. 4, 5, 6. I have two columns that show the same data, and I have placed
so
different
the name
names.
attribute is for that end to create a new column with the following new component column for the given name. The data path is to retrieve information from the entity from the first name column, right?
Exactly. And since, you know, in the beginning I coded this like this, to have data path and name, and I used to have them both, and then I noticed that it's a little bit silly, it's redundant. I'm using first name in both values, in both fields. I'm putting the same value every time. So I decided that the system would guess automatically that it is it's the same name. Okay, so I just put the name, and the name is used also for the data path. Okay, so let me see now. If I go to the employee list, I have two first name, blah 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 blah, whatever. Okay, so what should we do now? Let me see the form. So if I open the form is a little bit more complicated. It's not just a table. So the layout here is being done. I have a big vertical layout, and then I have horizontal layout with the three fields: first name, last name, date of birth. Then horizontal layout for employee status insurance. I have a shift, and I have a list, a slave list. We didn't see this yet, the slave list. You will see it. Now, let me see with you, these are the fields, you know, as we see them. Let me say that next to the has insurance, I want to put the salary over time, blah blah, the one that we created, you remember? So if I come here and I say, okay, next to my has insurance, I have a GUI field. You see, I'm used to copy paste. And here I do say overtime hourly rate. This is the name of our field, isn't it? Okay. Hourly rate. It doesn't make sense to have an hourly rate next to the insurance. Okay. But anyway, we don't care. I'm gonna add this field, and I'm gonna add something also. I'm gonna add a tag visibleWhen. visibleWhen has insurance. Let me stop the server, because every time I save my XML, it redeploys and everything comes messy.
On?
Yes.
Do you have any document that explains in details what are the attributes?
No. No.
We have for each specific component or each specific.
No, not yet. But you have this in, I'm sure. But you have a class that an interface that contains all these wrapped together. See what's happening? I said that I wanted this component, and I said it's visible when has insurance is true. So you can add this, the visibleWhen part, you can add it to anything. I can also say, look what I will say. I will say that the visible, this should be visible when I have has insurance and the salary is greater than 1,000. How about this? So I'll build some kind of formula now. I will say and, it's an and thing, yeah? It should be has insurance and the salary greater than 1,000. Okay, let me rerun the server. I guess we need to do so. Ba-bum. So if I go to the employee tag, okay, it's not showing, but it's showing. If I remove this, it's not showing. It has to be an and. Insurance and salary greater than 1,000, I get this to be displayed. Okay, so you can build formulas like this. Okay, now what is the slave? The slave is also an entity. Maybe in this video we will cover the slave. Okay, and then it's also an entity thing, and then we will see other things in other videos. The slave is also an entity, isn't it? Like the achievement here, you can see this class, it's really next to the employee. You have achievement. Okay, what does achievement say? Achievement is well, it contains fields just like the other entity. It extends Pojo object, blah blah blah. Until here you have a normal entity. Then you come and say I have a foreign entity, so it's a foreign key. To what table? To the table employee. And until here you don't have really a cascade yet. So here we are saying cascade equal true. Cascade equal true, this will create automatically. It's very important because cascade equal to is doing two things actually. It shouldn't be doing the second part. Cascade equal true, we all know that it means that if you delete the master object, you want the slave object to be deleted with it. Cascade equal true. Okay, this is from a database point of view. It's doing something to the memory also. It's creating in memory a field inside the employee that is a list field. This is not in a the database doesn't know anything of a list field, yeah? So this is only for Fuck would understand it. A Java program would understand what it is. It's a list field. And this is why here in the for, I come inside the form of the employee. So here I have one employee object. And I am indicating that I want a table on the data path. You can see the data path here. The data path is saying achievement underscore list. And how come employee understood that field? It understood that field because the slave field achievement said that it is cascade with the employee. So this actually syntax created two fields. The field of the employee, which is a foreign key here, in achievement you have a foreign key to employee. You indicate the master, the primary key of your master, employee. This is the first field, normal, but you also implicitly created a field inside the entity employee that is called what? Called the salary. I'm using it here only. It shows here.
Can you please repeat the part related to the list because your voice went out.
Oh, okay.
You were not audible. I guess something related to the connection.
Okay. Let me repeat that. So all these fields here, first name, last name, whatever, we can see them in the employee part. We can see them here, first name, last name, whatever, blah 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 blah. But in the field, in this one you don't see it. The employee table, the employee form, this achievement list inside the tag data path means that there's a field called achievement underscore list. Where did this field come from? This field was created automatically inside the employee. How did it get created? You look at the achievement entity. This is the achievement entity itself, the slave. Okay, I'm looking at the slave entity, the slave table called achievement. Inside the slave, I'm saying to the slave that it has a foreign key field. Normal. Every slave has a foreign one-to-many. Okay, here I'm in the many. In the many, I have a field that points to my master, to the employee. Every employee has X achievements, N achievements. So this is a basic thing in databases, that I have a foreign key to the employee. Fine. And I'm saying that it's cascade. This is the key field, because I could have missed out this part. No, I'm saying it's cascade. So because I'm saying it's cascade, it will be deleted with the master. Yeah? And FOC also understands that if you are creating this binding cascade between master and slave, if this foreign key has a cascade binding, this means that it is really a master-slave relation, and you need to access from the employee, you need to access your achievements. So this is why it automatically creates a field in the employee called by the name of the slave underscore list. So you automatically get a field called achievement underscore list created in the employee entity. So when I look at the form, are you still here? Okay. When I look at the form, I can see that I have here achievement underscore list in the data path, which brings me a list of achievements. We put this in the GUI table, and this is how we get the table inside the form, of the employee. Okay, that's it for the video, for this video. In the next video, we will talk about new topics. See you soon.